Well, hello everybody, and welcome to our Experts in Industry series. I'm David Poirier, the CEO of the Poirier Group, and today we're joined by Ed Treacy, the Vice President, Supply Chain and Sustainability at the Produce Marketing Association. Ed's a senior level professional manager with more than 37 years of senior management experience in logistics and supply chain management. In the last 10 years, he's been PMA's expert in developing supply chain practices to lead the produce and floral industries forward, and is leading PMA's efforts to inspire the industry to implement sustainable business practices. You know, a quarter from now, and in particular, the peak holiday season, what are you telling your members?
Build as much flexibility into your plans as you can. And continue, and what we've seen in both sides of the border are great partnerships develop almost overnight between food service distribution channel, the food service distributors, and retailers. Now we see Cisco and US Foods and Gordon's trucks delivering to grocery retail stores. And they figured out, because they had extra capacity, they had the trucks, they had the warehouse, and they had the employees and the equipment. They've taken some of that top hard to deal with volume off the top, and they've developed partnerships, and it works well for both because it keeps the food service distributors employees employed for when their business does come back. It's just going to shift, and it's definitely helped the grocery retail. So be flexible, continue your partnerships, and you may have to turn them on, turn them off, and turn them back on again, depending how this pandemic rolls out.
And Jim Tompkins and I did a webinar a little while ago talking about supply chain and building flexibility into it, and we positioned it as, you know, the last 20 years, 30 years, we've been focusing on optimizing the supply chain, making it optimal. And now we're talking about, instead of optimality, optionality.
Yeah, exactly.
Into it. And it's difficult to change the mindset, particularly in the supply chain industry, from what has allowed them to be successful for the last 20 years. To face the new environment. And there are going to be some winners and some losers, and I'm sure you're seeing that within the industry as well.
Yeah, the companies that had capacity and the wherewithal, if you will, to deal with it, and what we saw really was the ones that were very successful kind of put cost as secondary. They did it not quite at any cost, but they had to get the job done, and they were working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. They would never have engaged a food service distributor to help them out, because it's probably not going to be as cheap as they could have done it themselves. But when they look at the big picture and going, well, if you're going to stick with your finite capacity that you have, you're going to have some empty shelves out in your stores. And that's worse than spending a little bit extra money to get the job done and get the product where it needs to be. One of the things that the winners have done is they've really beefed up and made their online experience for their consumers as user-friendly as possible, as consistent as possible, and focused on the quality of product that's arriving at their homes.